This is AI Everything, and today we are doing a quick and short review of the Samsung Galaxy S6 smartphone. Now, I have to give you full disclosure, I am an Apple user. That's an Apple Watch, that's an iPhone 6 Plus. My daily driver computer is an Apple, but I do use multiple platforms in my daily use. I use this Samsung phone for business. I also use a Windows PC for business. So I do kind of straddle the fence when it comes to ecosystems. So what I'm going to do in this review is I am going to focus on the hardware, and more importantly, I'm going to focus on the pros and the cons more than I am going to be able to tell you, is this the best Android phone on the market? Because first of all, I'd say probably not. And second of all, I'm not really the ultimate person that could answer that question as well as other people could. But I can tell you a great deal of things that I like and don't like about the hardware. So right off the bat, it is a very attractive phone. There's glass on the back, glass on the front, metal all around. You have the speaker holes drilled in it. This is a micro USB port. There's your microphone, there's your headphone jack. Everything's on the bottom. Not much on the top except for it looks like another microphone and an infrared blaster to control your television if that's something you want to do. And then you have the lock button here, the SIM tray here, and volume on the side. So it's pretty standard fare as far as phones go. There's also a fingerprint reader in the home button. So it works like you would expect. You hold your thumb on it, the phone unlocks. I personally don't use it for a lot of reasons, but I have read elsewhere that it works really well. So let's talk about my very favorite feature of the phone. It is the screen. It's got a 1440p resolution. It's the same resolution that a normal Apple iMac would have. Not the Retina iMac, but a normal iMac. And it's the same resolution that a lot of 1440p monitors have. I believe it's called Quad HD or QHD when you look at computer monitors, but all you need to know is that the phone is really sharp, it's really beautiful, it's really vivid. And I'm going to be honest with you, I like it better than my iPhone as far as the screen goes. See, the iPhone has a 1080p resolution screen and it's an LCD, whereas this is an OLED screen or an OLED, and it's got the 1440p. And it's also a smaller screen, so you get way better pixel density. Now, a lot of people will tell you that, oh, you know, anything past 720p on a phone or even 1080p on a phone isn't going to matter. And I strongly disagree with that. Because time and time again, when I use Samsung's more pixel-dense items, whether it is a tablet, I've been a huge fan of the Note tablets. I've personally owned an 8 and a 10.1 2014 edition. I also had a Note 3 for a while. So whether it is a tablet, a phablet, a phone, I have noticed that the better pixel density does help, and it helps a lot when it comes to things like reading. See, I use the iPhone as my daily phone, but I use this as my e-reader, I use this as my video watching device. The Samsung is easier on my eyes, and I think it's a combination of the OLED technology and the pixel density. See, AnandTech is a great website to talk about in this regard because AnandTech.com, and if you guys are into tech, you may have heard of them, AnandTech. Their website can be just horrible to read on an iPad mini, and I wouldn't say it's horrible to read on my iPhone 6 Plus, but it's not a pleasure, I'll put it like that. Whereas a few things make it much easier to read on the Samsung device. It has different font, it's different screen technology, it's different pixel density, and it is so much easier to read AnandTech's site. If you have a Samsung phone with a high pixel density of 1440, which a few other phones do, and you have an iPad mini, I would suggest you go to AnandTech's site and try to read the articles on the different devices, and you will notice a difference. Now, the iPad Air 2 fixes a lot of my complaints. The iPad Air 2 out of all of Apple's devices is the easiest one for me to read on, but Samsung devices are easier still for me to read on. And I know we use our phones and tablets as computers and movie watching devices and all kinds of other things, but I still do a lot of reading on these devices. And even things like the Bible app, and please don't take offense at me showing a religious text or anything, this is easier for me to read than any of my Apple devices. Text just pops on this thing. Now, is that OLED? Is that the 1440p pixel density? Is it both? I don't know. I will not make claims as to what the reasoning is, but it is far easier for me to read on this device, and I appreciate that. Now, I took both devices more than once outside and checked them out to see which one's more legible outside, and they're both pretty good in their own rights. The Samsung, okay, let me go back. I would say the iPhone's home screen. Okay, I would say the iPhone's home screen is much easier to read outside, but websites, the YouTube app, text messaging is just barely easier to read on this. And even when you're on YouTube, you want to scroll through, you want to read comments, you want to read explanations of videos and things like that. So that is easier to do once again on this phone. Now, the screen is beautiful. That's one of my product reviews for, it's actually more of a demonstration between two different shampooers in case you're interested. I do lots of different products. I do cleaning products, computer products, all kinds of tech products, even graphics cards, which my graphics card videos tend to get the most traffic, but I have a wide range of interests. Anyway, the point is videos look good, it's easy to read, and the screen is the best feature. And I know I talk about the screen a lot, and this is the issue. The screen is so good that it outweighs my other issues with the phone. But let's talk about another thing that's good real quick. The camera is very good. So would I say the camera is better than the camera on the iPhone 6 Plus? I would say they're both good. I would say they're both equally good for different reasons. I feel that the iPhone 6 Plus is definitely more accurate. I do not think that the Samsung phone is as accurate, and a lot of people have said this over the years, especially with Samsung's OLED screens, that they're more vibrant. However, the Samsung pictures are normally more pleasing and more flattering. Now, another thing, the way that Apple chose to crop pictures with the iPhone 6 Plus, or any of their phones for that matter, they kind of are close framed, okay? So you have to hold the phone really far away from you to do a selfie, and that's one of the reasons why selfie sticks are such a big thing. Now, Samsung had a commercial that I thought was just stupid marketing until I actually used this phone here. And when it comes to doing selfies, way easier with the Samsung. The Samsung is not as close in. Now, there are trade-offs, okay? The Apple feels more intimate for things like FaceTime. It's closer to your face. Again, you can see more detail. But I think for a lot of people, the camera will be more enjoyable on the Samsung. Now, as far as like how fast it works and things like that, it's a toss-up, and I'll tell you why. All the way up until the iPhone 5S, I would have said that iPhones are hands down the fastest, the best cameras, period. The problem is the 6 Plus, a little bit slow. Now, is that because it only has 1 gigabyte of RAM? I don't know. Again, do I know why certain things perform better or worse than others? No, I'm not going to make that claim. But I will say the iPhone 6 Plus camera is a little slow. It's very good. It's my primary camera, more or less. I don't hate it, but it is a little bit slow. The Samsung isn't super fast. It's one of those things where the Apple kind of defeats itself. So the camera overall, very good. The screen overall, very good. Now, I do have some niggles, okay? One of the worst things for me about this phone just did one of the things that I have a problem with. It is way too easy to accidentally touch things that I'm not trying to touch. It is way too easy to accidentally activate things on the screen that I do not want to activate. And it is definitely way too easy to hit these buttons. There is a back key and a multitasking key on either side of the home button. I am constantly, here, let me show you what happens. I am constantly minding my own business, watching a YouTube video. If I can get, see, this is not cooperating. Go this way, this way, this way. Come on, there you go. I am constantly trying to use the YouTube app and then accidentally hitting this multitasking button over here, which makes all of these apps show up, and then accidentally switching to another app, or even accidentally closing the YouTube app out. and it's very frustrating. I started using a case on this phone to try to combat that, and even with the case, it still happens often. I mean, often. I am constantly hitting things that I do not want to hit on the phone, and it is a great source of frustration. And I imagine that if this was my daily phone that I'm constantly getting in and out of my pocket and trying to use, it would be even more of a sense of frustration. So I would say the soft keys on here greatly frustrate me. And it's a good thing that this phone has looks going for it, because honestly, if the screen was not so enjoyable to read on and consume content on, I would have to pass on this phone. As a matter of fact, part of me wishes, and I did not know that phone existed at the time, but part of me wishes that I would have instead picked up Samsung's active version of this phone. It's a little bit thicker. It doesn't have soft keys. I think it has clicky keys on it. It's got 3 raised up keys on it. And I think that would have greatly addressed my first issue, which is the accidental touching of these keys, although it would not have stopped me from accidentally touching things on here. There are so many times that I'll be trying to just scroll through a list of items, and I'll accidentally tap an item when I didn't want to tap it.
Hey guys,
so
this is AI Every.
it's a super big frustration. It's honestly, it's a big enough frustration that if this was my daily phone, I might actually hate it for that one little detail. And you might be wondering, well, why didn't I just exchange this phone for the active phone once I realized it existed? I did not find out the active phone existed, the active edition of the Galaxy S6. I did not realize that existed until it was too late to trade this phone back in. Even when I paid cash for this, and even when you pay cash for a phone, they have a very strict 14-day return period, and I couldn't seem to get around that. So I'm kind of, for lack of a better word, stuck with this phone, even though the buttons are very annoying. Now, another thing is the battery life on this phone is pretty horrible. Okay? It is not my primary device. I do not use this phone any more often than I use any other device. And it is constantly running out of juice. The first week that I had the phone, it kept dying on me because I kept underestimating how fast it was going to run out of charge. It took a long time to figure it out as far as how long it's going to last. And if this is your primary phone, that is the kind of thing that you are going to want to be keenly aware of. So that's an issue. Now, another issue is you have to restart this phone. Now, supposedly an update fixed it, but I still have the issue. You have to restart the phone pretty much every day or it becomes laggy. Now, the thing is, when the phone is behaving the way that it should, it is faster than my 6 Plus by a lot. It switches apps more quickly, it opens apps more quickly, it does what I want it to inside of apps more quickly. Of course, it also has way more RAM inside of it. And I don't know about the processors. I haven't actually taken the time to benchmark either processor, nor have I taken time to really study it. But I'll tell you, from a use case scenario, the S6 is way faster. However, when I don't restart the phone every day, the phone starts hanging and freezing and being very, very difficult to use. You see, one of the other good features that this phone has, so let's open YouTube and then let's hold the multitasking button. One of the other good features that this phone has is the multitasking on it is outstanding. Again, I've been using Note products since 2013, and the Note products have always been fairly good at multitasking, but this is just miles better. Okay, so what I do a lot of times is I watch YouTube videos that are kind of more like podcasts than they are anything else. They might be an hour long, an hour and a half long, and what I'll do, this is YouTube I'm scrolling through up here, what I'll do is I will be having a YouTube video playing, but then I might be curious about something that they're talking about. So I will actually bring up Chrome, and while the video is still playing and while the people are talking about the item, whether it's tech or whatever, it's usually tech, it'll be like a tech news item, like Paul's Hardware will be talking about Skylake CPUs that have just come out. And I might have questions about those same CPUs. So what I will do is I will start looking that up in the web browser while I'm listening, and it works fantastically. You just saw it. Here, let me show you. You can resize the windows very quickly. It switches over to landscape. See, this is the internet over here, that's YouTube over here, and again, you can just grab it, slide it. It's making me a liar right now, which actually happened in one of my other videos. I've posted it on here. Here, let's try it again. Let us try to multitask again. See, it is being a little bit slow, and I haven't restarted the phone. I had a video that I posted on my channel where I had a similar incident. What happens is, when the phone is working properly, it works incredibly well, and the multitasking is very fluid and it's very fast, and you can resize the window very quickly. You just grab that dot and you move it up and down. If you don't restart the phone and it's crashing and it's hanging and it's kind of going slowly, what happens is the multitasking situation is just super difficult to use. So, long story short, the three big issues is it will get slow, it will freeze, it will actually perform worse than the iPhone 6 Plus, but restarting it generally gets that to go away, and it restarts pretty fast. Here, I can show you. Oh, there we go, restart. So we will restart the device, or we'll try again. So it actually restarts pretty fast, it boots pretty fast. I haven't timed it, but it feels like it does this more quickly than the iPhone 6 Plus. Again, overall, the phone performs faster than the 6 Plus, has a better looking screen than the 6 Plus. It's pretty decent hardware. So here it is, it's rebooting. Anyway, so that's one frustration. Another frustration is the short battery life, but I'm telling you, by and large, accidentally hitting these buttons or accidentally hitting items on the screen that I don't want to is a frustration. I actually have to edit this video because my call log accidentally came up while I was trying to demo the phone. I accidentally somehow opened up my call history. Now, no offense, guys, I like you, but I don't know you well enough that I want to share my call history with you, so I'm going to have to edit that out of the video now. And trust me, I was not trying to do that. And you know what? I've never once in my life accidentally brought up my call history on my iPhone, any iPhone. So that is a huge downside, the accidental hitting of buttons. Also, the phone, I would like to use it without a case because it's not my primary device. I used my Note 3 without a case. I used my Note tablet 10.1 2014 edition without a case. But this phone, I have to use a case for two reasons. One, the short battery life, so it's a battery case. And two, it's a fairly big case and it helps protect me from at least hitting these soft keys. Anyway, can I tell you whether or not it is the best Android phone? No, I cannot. But I can tell you this. Even though this is only a 5-inch screen, 5.1-inch screen, this is my favorite device to read articles on. This is my favorite device to watch YouTube videos on. And that's two big things that I do a lot. Plus, it has a good camera on it, and I can use that for different things. I can use it for videos that I make and so on. It's nice to have the good camera. So from a hardware standpoint, pretty decent. Plus, it's easy on the eyes. I honestly think it is a good-looking device. Is it? What I can tell you is it is a good-looking device. It has a beautiful screen. It has a good camera. I greatly enjoy using the phone. But if this was my daily phone, between the horrendous battery life and the fact that I'm constantly accidentally touching things, I would not like that. But for a lot of you, maybe this is a thing that plenty of Android phones do with the accidental touching, and you would be used to it. I'm not sure. That's going to be up to you guys. But hopefully this video has been somewhat helpful for you. And I think a lot of videos that do reviews say a lot of the same things over and over and over again, and kind of like spout the same facts or whatever over and over again. And hopefully this video brought up some different things that maybe you hadn't heard yet in a review, and hopefully it's helped you out. This has been AI Everything, and I hope you guys have an excellent day. Thank you very much.